It's the 40th anniversary of the Northeast Conference, and all year long, we'll revisit some of our most memorable moments with our most memorable athletes. Today, we turn back the clock 7 years. We will have a double edition of NEC Memorable Moments, and that is because the man joining me today scored golden goals in consecutive Northeast Conference men's soccer finals. It's St. Francis Brooklyn, Andy Cormack, now an assistant coach with the Terriers. Andy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Ralph. Appreciate it.
So let's start in 2013 before we move on to that memorable golden goal in the NEC final against Bryant. Just give us a sense of what you remember most about that 2013 season and your team.
Well, we always felt that we had a really strong group of players, talented players all over the field. But not only that, we had a group of players that really cared for each other. Going into conference play, we had a pretty strong out-of-conference schedule. And then, we ended up finishing fourth in the conference going into the playoffs. But we were pretty confident when we were going into the playoffs that we had the abilities to go on and win it. And we were always, the camaraderie between the players was so strong. Really, every game, players were fighting for each other. And that's really the one thing that sticks out for me with that team.
So you mentioned you get into the Northeast Conference tournament as a lower seed. You win the semifinal match. Now you find yourself in the final, one win away from the NCAA College Cup tournament. It's a tie game, extra time, 97th minute, and St. Francis Brooklyn is awarded a free kick. And kind of just take us from there, what you remember on that day, heading into the moment, referee signals free kick. Does that automatically mean you take the kick? Were you the one assigned? Just take us back to that day in 2013.
Sure. So, and there's also a bit of a backstory to this. So at the start of the season, I was telling Coach Tom, I can take free kicks. And obviously being a defender, he's like, okay, well, kind of like, it's not happening, whatever. We played Navy earlier in the year, and we got a free kick, almost identical position to this one in the final. And Kevin Correa, who was our All-American striker, scoring goals from all over the field, was standing over the ball. And I approached the ball, and I said to him, I was like, can I hit it? And he said, yeah, sure. And Coach Tom did not know at the time that this was happening. And I went on and scored. So after that, he gave me a bit more trust. So fast forward to the final, and Kevin Correa again had already scored 2 free kicks in this game. So we get the third free kick going into overtime, and Tom says to me, Andy, you take it. So I'm walking up the field, and I'm saying, there's no way that Kevin is going to tell me that I can take this free kick. He's about to score a hat trick. He's already scored 2 free kicks. And without me even saying anything, he just gives me the ball and says, you got it, man. And I didn't have to say anything. And again, like going back to the camaraderie of the team, that was just it, just selfless players. And, I could have ballooned the ball 40 yards over the bar, and people could have been today saying, why didn't you let him take it? But fortunately on that day, I hit it just right and into the top corner. So
the ball goes into the top corner, and St. Francis Brooklyn are the NEC champions. What was the feeling then at that time? And can you still remember it?
Oh, yeah. Still remember it. Just elation. And not even so much for the free kick, just to see the sheer joy on the faces of the other players and the coaches, and the amount of hard work that we put into that whole season. And, like you said, we went in as a lower seed. We seemed to have a knack of doing things the hard way. We went behind twice in that game, fought back, and just had a lot of grit and determination. So just to see the elation of everyone that was involved, that was like the most satisfying thing for me. It was just an incredible moment. And I think if you were to look up the highlight on YouTube, there's probably like 3,000, 4,000 views, and 95% of them are probably Coach Tommy or still go back to that day. Like we still go back to that time probably once or twice a week because it's just great.
Well, this launched St. Francis into a new era of NEC dominance. It would be the first of 4 conference titles in a 5-year span. And obviously this was the first NEC crown since the 90s. In the 90s, St. Francis, Brooklyn won the league on 4 occasions, had a bit of a drought. And then your goal here kickstarts what turns out to be 4 in 5 years. So it's 2014 now. The Terriers are the defending champion. They are back in the NEC final. And here we go again. 94th minute, a set piece. You're going up against St. Francis U, which was the #1 seed at the time. And just by nature, by namesake, your rival. So going up against the other St. Francis in the conference, 94th minute, another set piece. Take us back to that time.
So that team 2014 was a very different dynamic. We had graduated from the 2013 team. I think it was like 13 guys, and the majority of which were starting players, key players in that 2013 team. Now, we still had a lot of the core players from the team before, but it was a different dynamic. And I think if you were to look back in that final, we were kind of on the back foot for the majority of the game. And if I could, from experience playing in the game, I felt like we didn't have a lot of the ball and we had to do a lot of defending. And it was a lot of hard work. And then ultimately we took the game. We went down 1-0 from a penalty, and then we actually got a penalty kick like less than 5 minutes later, I think it was. And the game was very cagey from there on out. And it was just a case of, keep working hard, staying behind the ball, staying disciplined, and we'll get our chance. And we always felt like that chance was going to come. And fortunately, it came in overtime in a similar fashion to the year before. So.
And I guess at this time, there's no question that you're taking this free kick, right? You're the veteran on the team now. And after what happened last year, there was no way Coach Tom was putting someone else over the ball. Yeah.
So I remember putting the ball down, and the goalkeeper was setting up a wall, and he never really got himself set back in quite the right position. And I had Sal Barone, who went on to have a great career here. He was a freshman at the time, stood over the ball with me, and he was a left-footed player. And the free kick probably favored like a left-footed player. And I remember him saying, "Andy, I've got the space." But I was like, "Don't worry about it. I've got it." And sort of, people could see that the goalkeeper was maybe out of position, and they were kind of trying to, and I was just trying to stay calm and be like, "Don't worry, I see it," trying to not make a big deal. Unfortunately, found the space and was able to do it again. So.
Now, I'm sure it all happened so quickly, but when you strike a ball on a free kick like that, do you know whether it's going in right when it's off the foot? Did you have that kind of feeling, or is it like a wait and see?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you're thinking is just hit the target, because you look kind of silly if you don't. And you got to give it a chance, at least give it a chance. And that, from the 2013 one, it felt right from the minute I hit it. You just knew it was going in. That one was a little bit different. The 2014 one, the angle was kind of funny, but fortunately it went in as well. So that was it was good.
And it made you and the Terriers 2-time champions of the Northeast Conference. And then, of course, after your graduation, they went on to win 2 more titles. Yeah. And now you're back with the program. You're an assistant coach. Can you give us an update on the current day Terriers, and how do you feel in your new role?
I'm loving it. I think I'm going into my 6th season now as the assistant. So I love every minute of it. I love being part of this program. They've given me incredible opportunities to go on to do what I'm doing right now. And the current crop of players we're really excited about. It's unfortunate times now that they're not being able to compete, but we're able to stay engaged, and we're keeping the guys engaged with practices, and we see them daily, and we're really, really excited. We think that we have the tools and we have the chemistry within the team to do good things this year. So that's really, really exciting for us.
And real quick, before we let you go, what's the one difference, if there is one, from being a St. Francis student athlete and now being an assistant coach?
Besides all the administration stuff that you probably have to deal with a little bit more. I don't know, really. That's a tough question to say. I think, it's important that you try to pass on your experiences to the guys. And ultimately that's one of my big jobs, is to try and pass on experiences. And at the end of the day, that's why I became a coach, is because I want to give the players now the opportunity to go through the same things that I did, because not only was it an incredible experience to win a championship, but the people that you meet and the friends that I have forever now that I go and visit from all around the world, that's essentially what I want the kids from now to experience. So that's the big reason why I took the opportunity when Tommy asked me, do you want to join the coaching staff? I didn't second guess.
Well, obviously you've had incredible experience over the years, and in particular, back-to-back years in the Northeast Conference Final, the Golden Goal. I mean, it's really a storybook type of thing when you look at it. 2 years in a row to find yourself in extra time, twice with a free kick opportunity, and to convert and send your team to the NCAA tournament. Really, I can't think of anything better than that. But Andy Cormack did it. He lived it with the St. Francis Brooklyn Terriers, and we thank him for revisiting those two NEC memorable moments today. And of course, this is part of the Northeast Conference's 40th anniversary series, NEC Memorable Moments. I'm Ralph Ventry. He's Andy Cormack. Thanks a lot for joining us today.